All right, live talking
Channel
comics
theme.
with that umbrella guy, Big Mikey P, or got fucked. Yep, and Pepperon, and a couple more and talk about comics and shit.
Come on.
Goddamn Pepperon. All right.
Pepperon.
Yeah, that was the joke that he almost
Tell the
made me
story,
choke out.
Rex.
I was adding him on Steam, and he was telling about this guy who names all of his Steam names after like funny names, like Tony Baloney. And I kept laughing, and then he told me his name is Pepperon. It was supposed to be pepperoni, but he forgot the I because he was so excited, and he fucked up. And I just thought that was
Well, I
the
thought it would
funniest
be
shit.
funny.
It was a little funny, and it just kept getting funnier. And then I almost choked to death, and that made it even more funny. But at the same time, I realized I was gonna die if I didn't fix things. But I'm not dead. Otherwise, this is a most awkward limbo.
It's all on my stream.
We gotta
Yeah,
share
it's-
this stuff. Like, I gotta get the links out here for a minute really quick.
This could be my biggest stream ever then, with
Yeah, that'd
the
be
boss,
fun.
big
man.
guy, one of the
You
big
know,
guys
it's,
himself.
Yeah,
Almost,
I think it's good to get out here. Like I like your channel though. I'm glad that your channel's back. By the way,
I
oh
know.
my
I'm
God.
excited. I'm getting there. I actually just picked up a new shonen manga that's kind of like a horror action that I'm gonna do a review on tomorrow. It's pretty good. I like it. The main character and the main villain share the same body. It's a little different, but I like it so far.
Okay, what are you playing in the background there, Rex?
I'm gonna play some Batman's comics, so I'm gonna throw up a comic game in the back.
It's going to be good. Rex is a master at this game.
Yeah, it's on hard. Okay, don't exaggerate it. It's gonna give me a thick head.
He's not a pinball wizard like I am.
Is that a rank in the KKK?
Yeah, that's what it sounds
a
like.
pinball wizard, you eventually end up becoming a Jedi.
Yeah, but once you
I
reach
think I
Jedi at
ended
a
up
level, you
here
have to go to an
now.
island. Me? Wow.
No, Rax the hero. Or I'm not getting the notification.
I don't think notifications are going out really right now. It's all wonky because I can't. Some of this shit is limited. I can't comment either on videos. I can't even thumbs up comments on my videos right now. It's probably
my
just.
God.
Everybody else can thumbs up your videos.
I know, but
How
like
are
when.
manga US sales? Like, do you ever
Okay,
track?
you
that?
have like the video.
I don't know about U.S. sales. I haven't checked before. I only look at worldwide. They
I'm
should be
wondering
pretty
like
good.
how the market in the United States is like comparatively.
Let me check. I don't know. I've never looked into U.S. exclusives. It says that they're rising, which doesn't surprise me.
I'm tweeting it out
It says
to my 70 followers.
you're a big deal. That means the pinball community is coming for
I
you.
have you know how I initially said I got the Hasbro Labs Jabba the Hutt sail barge. There's
Really?
a bunch of
Wait, are you gonna get
insider
that?
info. Yeah, it's coming.
Damn, that
I
thing's fucking.
neglected
Is that
the
the?
last 3 times to make videos about the insider stuff I get sent because I'm a backer for that.
Says that they're destroying DC and Marvel in sales right now. Apparently, from the article I'm reading. I'm just trying to look for numbers. Oh wait, let me see if Barnes and Noble says something. Because the thing about it is, like, especially when you look at worldwide sales, that manga completely obliterates comics. Like, it's not even a competition.
Yeah, they're good at doing two things: either delivering a good product or giving people what they want.
Well, I think part of the reason, yeah, part of the reason that's definitely such a huge separator is like, other than like being, I don't think I've ever heard of a manga writer talking shit at all to any of their customers ever. Like, not even remotely close. The only time I've ever heard shade thrown is, I guess, Kubo doesn't like Oda, and fucking the dude who made Gundam was like shit talking Attack on Titan. That's like it. That's all the thing I think I've ever heard. Just very uncommon. They usually just are real sneaky about their shade.
You gotta
I'd
be
always-
sneaky.
I just keep looking at this circle jerk. That's pretty much. It appears around any of the big name people that come out, and of course they denounce. You know, you saw Scott Schneider take to the stage. You know, after he had a finger pointed at him, and he was told, "Oh, you better do this," and of course he did. You know, he came out and said, "If you want to talk to him about comics, well, then you need to denounce Comicsgate." And you know, all of these people, oh, so stunning, so brave. You know, yeah, very good.
Yeah, gotta wag that finger. You get finger points.
Yeah. Too bad that doesn't turn into actual money.
Oh, you can't really redeem it for anything good at all.
Well, it drives away. He may be insulated right now within comic books. But there comes a time, like he was talking about in 2009, that he was hungry. He had bills to pay. He had a toddler and so on. And he was trying to get a start in the industry. So in 9 years, he has forgotten the consumer. That's awesome. It's awesome to know that in 9 years, it only takes a little while for somebody to sit down that should understand exactly who put them there, and to make pronouncements saying, if you want to talk about comics to me, then you got to denounce this. Very telling.
It was that simple. He'll be
I don't handle that very well myself.
Sub-zero temperatures to survive.
Wow. Fatty057, $5. What a nice guy. He's my favorite pinball streamer. That means a lot to me.
I'll find the coldest point.
Scott Snyder can suck it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on that.
So my hopes are that it's just like he's doing a very broad, like, kind of show to make the larger people like leave him alone, and just hopefully at that point I'll just like, all right, I'm gonna leave it. If he goes on these these big verbal raids, then I'm not buying any of his stuff anymore.
It says something though more behind the scenes. Now I've been kind of stuck on this idea, and I was listening to EVS earlier. He said that behind the scenes there's a rumor that Marvel may be down as much as 13 to 16% for sales. Now, of course, they go into bad practice like overshipment and, all these other things. The industry looks like it's up 1% because, if you're overshipping, yeah, how much is really applied through that? And if you think about that, something like that would make sense, because you have, like, if you look at the Marvel hierarchy, you've had their CCO come out. You've had Tom Brevoort come out and say, everything's fine, everything's fine. You've also had, you've even had CB Cebulski going out and trying to shill a narrative. You have all of these people that are obsessed with things that are surrounding really, one YouTuber they always like to talk about, but they knew the minutia. Like when you got down to Joe Quesada, he knew about Ro Kabir. He knew about all of the smaller things that had happened in Comicsgate. So these people are actively watching, some of the brass that is involved with a mega corporation, a mega conglomerate worth billions, are sitting around watching what transpires with YouTubers and comics. Now, you tell me, does that not sound like there's something else going on there? Like either there's a huge fire.
They missed the boat.
Well, and if they've gone into that marketing, if they've gone into all of this this strategy of sticking to this, and they continue to stick to this marketing strategy, and if it is indeed losing money like this, then that brings up something else. It brings up questions about why exactly do they stick to this marketing strategy in the first place? They already knew it failed to the point that they bailed on, say, Axel Alonso. There was a problem there. They knew for whatever reason something failed. So why would they continue? Why would they do vanity projects like Iceman, knowing that Iceman can only pull down 10,000 sales at the end of that? They have comic books that are outsold by Sonic the Hedgehog right now, and Sonic the Hedgehog, not making a quality statement.
20-year-old game.
13,000 units though. So if you're being outsold by an IDW flagship that sells 13,000 units, what
does Captain Marvel even sell right now? Because she's still
Marvel
she's
has
still being
a lot.
pushed as their face character, and she's losing to, like, Power Rangers comics are absolutely destroying her.
I know that when there was an article came out from Rich Johnston, and he's a shill for this industry. And everybody knows that. Well, he's saying, I'm sick of where Marvel is going. I hate their direction now. I hate all of this stuff. When you have a guy like that is echoing that there is a problem there, then there's a problem there. I'm sure I'm sure we're going to see something come up. I mean, if they're basically they're going to cripple the LCS. They're killing the distribution hub. With all of this, continual reboot, and with stuff that they can't move. I mean, that's if you look at the numbers on Comicron again, that's only shipping numbers. After you get out of the top 58, it only takes 58 comics before you ship under 30,000 units. So I think that's very telling about an industry when you're out of the top 100, you're actually 102, you get out of the 20,000. So only 100 comics are selling over 20,000 units right now.
Ugh, it's just. Well, what was the regular like average back in like the late 90s?
Oh man, I mean, you used to have like if you didn't have like 100,000,
100,000.
yeah. I mean, you were talking about cutoffs. Like Jim Shooter used to actively talk about it and say, if you couldn't pull 100,000 units, you were gone. So
What's
I mean, you went from that
Speak
to
good that you
like
can.
I don't the thing the bit larger thing is I don't get how they could fail when superheroes are the thing right now. They're the big thing that everybody touches and everyone's like trying to ride on.
The top manga series
Yeah,
are superheroes: One Punch Man and My Hero Academia.
yeah, they're. I think My Hero. I think in the first 6 months of this year, My Hero Academia sold 2.5 million trade paperbacks, and yet Marvel's like struggling for most of their stuff to sell
There's
a couple
anybody that
thousand
they
trades.
replace with, though. I mean, when they replace though with anyone as a consumer, I mean, how many consumers? How fast are you losing consumers versus gaining them? I mean, what are you really actively promoting? Like when
Maybe
I
that's
walk
the
away from this,
gamble that they're trying to. Like, I was a 3 or 4 year dupe until I figured out their game, and now I'm gone.
yep. And
Maybe
once you're out, I mean, once you're out, you're out. That's the kicker with that. Now that Life of Captain Marvel, the first issue of it sold 74,000. So if it continues, we may watch that drop down into under 30,000 units. I mean,
Yeah,
that
when
would
it
be.
comes to replacement theory, I never see it work. They want to replace the original audience with this new crowd that never really works. Like Star Wars is not doing so well.
I don't understand in general. Once you have a consistent consumer base that's always going to come back and it's going to continually give you a certain level of profit, why would you want to shoo them away? It just doesn't make
it's
any
like new
shred of
What?
sense.
Coke.
You like
If they're
funny
trying
things?
something new, and nobody wanted new Coke. You're too young for that, Rex, but
I'm listening. I know. This
No,
now
it
also
the
that is.
lives into the consumer afterwards pretty quickly.
Mhm. But that is true. I mean, you actually did see that from other conglomerates thinking that there's this untapped because they hear about it. I mean, they bought into the PR. There's all these people out there. You can just reach them if. So they tried it, and you know what? They don't care. They never have cared. So why would they care? Just because you made some new superhero type comics, they thought suddenly these people would actually care about comic books for some reason. I mean, it doesn't even make sense.
like what
And you have stuff like Border Towns. It's like, oh my god, the opening for that. It's like JoJo did it better. It actually foreshadowed certain elements that would play a role later on in the story. It's like you could easily skip the towns and just start with the kid going to this new town.
the
That would
dialogue
have
in
been the
that though
best
is the
opening.
dialogue in Border Town though is so
Oh my
stupid.
God, the Border Town though was so like funny, cringy. At least if you're going to be awful, like be cringy in a way that I can laugh at and point my finger at. Some of the like West Coast Avengers, it is so awful that I can't pick it up and actually enjoy it. I mean, it's that bad. I looked at it and thought I can't even laugh at this. I mean, where are you when you can't even laugh at a title?
I don't. The what really confuses me is the
Great
people
Lakes Avengers
the
was
people
like
that
that
actually
too.
read it and think it's
Ugh.
good and they're like this is now their thing to be. Man, I really want to watch Hawkeye get bossed around by a 20-year-old kid who's done nothing and he's like been a superhero for what like 30 years. So such just some of these things just don't make
Yeah, that's the
sense.
thing. These new
The
superheroes, they come in and they have little experience, and yet they're better than the old dudes who have been around for a decade.
well yeah because the thing that the only way that they think they can make these new people look good is just to be like, hey, look how much better than they are than the other people. Nothing beyond that. They have no depth. I mean, the closest one is
Personality.
they just need
But
to
what
hurry
I
up and turn
wonder too,
Riri into a villain.
you know, they keep talking about how like their Border Town, it's sold out. You know, and everybody's like, oh, bravo. The thing is, like, how much of a print run did it have? You know, if you only have like a print
One
run of
copy, and then one person bought that single copy.
yeah, so I mean, what does that mean? And of course, that's being passed on to the LCS. You know, when I go to the LCS and I see 6 copies of the comic book laying there, yeah, I don't feel like it really did that well, you know.
Who was it? Like honestly, that and I'm waiting for the 3 issues that my LCS ordered. I'm wondering how long it's gonna be there. There's still stuff like the Runaways and what was that? What was the one? Was it Marvel Legacy where all the new people hung out with the old people in like little crossover? Those are all still sitting on the shelves.
Oh yeah, with time travel.
Yeah,
Border Town #1 still in the warehouse for things from another world.
it's God damn it. I don't understand. It's well, what are they?
But there is a second printing due for the 10th of
Well,
October.
it's just the part that confuses me isn't that they try and reach these people. It's that they're for some reason okay with getting rid of the old people while doing it. And that's the part that just kind of baffles me. Like if they're like, we also want to grab these weirdies, it's like okay, but why would you
Yeah,
shoot
it's like they
away?
want to grow an
Why would you
audience,
shoot
but
away all
not
these other
really,
people?
given they're driving away the people that are already there.
Well, but what's in their head that they're like, we need these people to like this just because what they do? Why don't they just switch to a different profession?
Well, people typically grow up and stop buying stuff like toys and comics.
There's
So-
also like a weird hipster thing with comics too, though, that like a lot of hipsters want to make their own comics and they want to make their own video games and their own artisanal cocktails. And then what
Yeah.
comes with that is they don't respect the properties that come with that, because to them they're just working on a comic book from a character that everyone's heard. They don't give a shit.
Bonehead #4, September 19th.
It's never coming out. Stop.
I
Don't tell.
know.
You're gonna make me
The Dissonance
lose my
trade
mind.
is out before this
Dissonance.
one.
Well, Dissonance is back to being a normal release, but not Border Town. Fucking Boneheads is never getting another issue, and I'm still salty about that. And if I ever meet Brian Hill, I'm gonna ask him what the hell.
You
I
can
don't-
ask him. I think he's supposed to do a stream sometime.
I
with,
might go talk to him. I don't know if you've read that, but like all these, oh god, I suck at Batman. All these writers that try and do some manga style comic but fail so miserably. I don't know, Boneheads does it so well, and yet I've been waiting for Boneheads 4 since April. They just
it
changed
sounds like
they
sounds like
pushed-
a pipe dream now.
They
actually,
pushed
when you-
every time I check, the date gets pushed back another 2
It'll be-
weeks.
It'll be Thanksgiving and it'll just kind of come out, you know.
Have you asked him? Have you went in there and been like, yo, dude, he likes to
I'm gonna soon.
respond to people that post angrily. He actually responded to me a couple of times.
I might then. I've just been
I responded angrily about, it's so easy, like all of this stuff too. You know, the conversation we were having previously. It's so easy to maintain readership. Like if a person's pissed off about something, you can go in and you can diffuse it. In fact, that used to be the spin with Scott Schneider. All that dude, he'll even write you and tell you, hey, not a big deal. You know, let me calm that down. And of course, now they've forgotten their way, forgot what professionalism looks like. I've gotten to the point where I cared about a year ago. I actually did care, but now I don't.
just gotta let it all burn, and we'll rebuild it from scratch.
Yeah, given you can only deal with so much before it's like, forget this.
Well, I wouldn't take it from any other industry. I would never, ever take the blatant level of disrespect. You know, first of all, taking away my individuality as a consumer, saying that you're going to loop me into other people and so you can dismiss me. You know, that's the insult in that. I mean, it's pretty grand. But then to just hear the insult that's thrown out there, not that I don't want to listen to you, I don't care what you say, but also, I mean, utilizing the language, this language that they use, like racist, sexist, and all, and that stuff isn't designed to hurt your feelings. That stuff is designed to damage. And they're trying to damage you because you bought a product. I mean, when you think about that and you really break that down mentally, that just it, it blows my mind. I can never imagine in my occupation attacking a consumer in the first place, but then trying to destroy their careers or vilify them because they bought my product and don't agree that I act like an asshole. That doesn't show that you act like an asshole anyway, too. I mean, yeah.
I mean, just
You
just
know.
imagine if one of these guys like went to, I don't know, any form of fast food and someone treated them even a fraction of how they treat customers in the comic books. They would lose
Oh,
their
they
minds.
throw they talk about boycotts and stuff because like you look okay the one of the Marvel executives, you know, he came out and he backed Donald Trump and they threw a fit boycotting and on through the election. So they think that right there, they disagree with something and they think, oh, you know, within the industry we need to burn it down, but you know, people that are buying products there, they don't deserve like a respect. I mean, like
They're
a
subverting
modern.
from within.
It's subverting expectations like Ryan Johnson.
Ryan
No, you
Johnson, that
infiltrate
dude.
and then you slowly kill whatever you want to take over with death by 1,000 cuts.
Well, what's
Drive away the
amazing is
most
that people.
hardcore fanboys. It's like even the fanboys don't want anything to do with this anymore. That's when
I
you
mean, dude, I'll
really
buy
mess
comic
up.
books like, yeah, I'll buy comic books hardcore. You know, I don't, I'm not particularly like superhero comic books. I enjoy superhero comic books to a point. I like certain heroes I've followed, but I'm not hardcore mad. I like more, you know, independent stuff. Like that's why Scott Schneider, I was like, you know, screw this guy because I enjoyed like Witches and Severed. You know, I like the horror things. I enjoyed American Vampire. You know, it's like, yeah, I can still buy your stuff too, Scott. You know, the only difference is that I'll buy it in trade. And
Lemire, that's another
you
one.
know, yeah, Lemire too. Hey, I'll buy your shit used, and you'll never make a dime off of me. Good job there, buddy. You know, I mean, it's not really hard to
The
go
day
out.
I mentioned his name in the comic book shop was the day that he decided to run his mouth on Twitter.
Yeah, that's what he said. I can't do. I cannot stand that Mike dude. You know, that was probably the straw that broke that camel's back. Thanks, Mike. Sheesh.
It was, I was in the comic shop. People were asking for writer recommendations, and I said Lemire.
Well,
'Cause
and that was too much. He was like, I can't stand that you know, that wrong finger up there, man. I know that guy.
maybe he was
He's
in
been
the
doing really
comic shop with me.
Yeah.
They don't like Big Mikey
This
P.
guy likes me. Ugh.
Man, well, you know, if they want to lose again fandom, if they want to actually turn on that, they have this expectation still though that you're like some kind of crackhead and you'll continue buying, or they don't understand where money comes from at all.
Well, the secret is don't
Oh,
buy
you mean
another
it doesn't
short.
grow on
Don't buy
trees?
another short box, so you don't have an excuse to fill up one.
Don't go to the freaking shop. I don't have to. You know, I have to go out of my way to go there. So
Well, I
I
got
never thought.
25% off on my box, so I'm slowly. It's dwindled down to nothing.
Mine's starting to
I
get
want to
real
go get
small
this Ice
too,
Cream
which
Man uncensored.
yeah,
Do what now?
mine's starting to get real small too, and it makes you sad because I really like my LCS. The guy that owns
I
it
used
is
to
really
go in there
nice.
and pick up 15 comics a week, and now it's like 2.
It dwindles to nothing. Like I was shocked the last time I went, and I was like, "What am I really interested in?" Oh well, maybe I'm interested in that. Let me, you know, oh this comic. Well, let me think about this. I've never heard of it. It looks maybe okay. Let me go check out the guy. Oh, that guy out there is calling people, you know,
The
calling
last
you know people Nazis and shit. You know.
I mean,
Yeah,
Let
giving
me,
a
let me
Al
Nazi
go.
Ewing was
all
that
that is a
letdown
lot
for me.
worse than simply, you know, you're an idiot.
Al Ewing was that
One
for
that's
me.
trying to demonize you and has social consequences, as in, oh my
I
god,
mean,
that guy's racist. Let's get him.
it like customer service and being treated well by the people is it's definitely a big plus, and it really makes it hard to like somebody, even if you like what the story is. If the dude is calling you like a piece of shit, like saying you're a detestable person that they can't stand. But
Really don't want to give him money, but on the other hand, the story's so
I
good
mean,
that
yeah,
then
but
his attitude
it's the
just
same
drags
thing. Like
everything down.
it's the same what Tug's been saying. It's like just go to the trades, fuck them. and it does hurt that whole impulse buy, and it's slowly decaying the medium as a whole, or at least
Mhm.
on a
Well, I mean,
grand
you know, they're
scale.
already they're already trying to preach to you know, to trade buyers, and you know they want to say that this stuff is working out. Yet at the same time, they're canceling series. Like they canceled, you know, look at Vision. Vision just got canceled, and
I have to
you know,
watch your video on that. What kind
they
of shit was
Is that
Chelsea
the
Kane
is
going
that the
over?
one where
oh dude. So yeah, I gotta.
Vision's playing house with a family?
Oh yeah, it's
That's
supposed to be so Vision, like in that mini series, you know, the Vision series that Tom King did before he went over to DC. He had them playing house, and only Viv Vision was left. So Viv Vision, you know, it was supposed to be a story about how a disconnected or emotionally stunted father. This was her wording, not mine. Was trying to connect with his woke teenage daughter. So yeah, that sounded awesome, didn't it? But what's really good? So I found this article. On her blog. And I think this needs to be talked about more. You know, like people really need to like truly grasp what's here. So in this blog, she's talking about how she got Mockingbird. This came out. This was in 2015. She was talking to CBR, and she posted it in there. So she has this section, and this is how she got that. And then there's other stuff. So she says, also, I have no shame. This is important. It's gotten me far. I got this gig through sheer gall. I emailed Brian Michael Bendis, and he was like, "I want to write," and I was like, "I want to write Mockingbird." And he wrote me back and was like, "Yeah, we need to talk." So he came over to her house and sat me down and explained very patiently and gently that Marvel doesn't generally hire with zero experience, and it goes from there. So a person not in the industry wrote Brian Michael Bendis, told him, "Hey, I want this job." Got told, "No, well, you know, they might not." Came over to her home, talked to her that way. Then, you know, if you go further down in this interview, they ask her about, so, you know, what got you interested in comics? What made you want to try your hand? And she talks about her husband's name, Mark. So Mark and I hang out with a lot of comics people. They're like pigeons here in Portland. If you stop and pay attention to one, the next thing you know, there are 35 of them standing around looking at you with their heads cocked. If the first pigeon likes you, you're in. So it talks about in grouping there. And it talks about her throwing parties, and she throws out names in there. So she said, Mark and I hosted a party where they're trying to convince, you know, the writer of Fight Club, Chuck, to write Fight Club 2, which was awful, by the way. So she throws this in there, and she said, you know, it made so much sense to me to do this. Bendis, his wife, Matt, meaning Matt Fraction, Kelly Sue DeConnick, and Mark and myself were at this plying Chuck with alcohol. And within that, Matt Fraction looked at her and said, "Why don't you should do a comic too?" So that sent her on this push to get that. So right there, you're talking about an industry where a lot of people are getting together, they're partying together. Where the fuck's the merit in that? Where's the world outside my window? Oh, you mean, you know, when you're looking at your friends and hiring them, because you're sure as shit not giving that to a diverse, wide range of audience. And so she lost Mockingbird. You know, it came out, people remember the feminist agenda shirt. Well, that came out. It was canceled, actually. It was, you know, shadow canceled after 3 issues. It was just nobody mentioned it until 8. They
Oh, we
weren't allowed
forgot
to
to
mention it.
send it to the printers. Sorry.
Yeah, it's one of those. Well, then she got Vision on the back of that, and it was canceled before it even came out. So now Chelsea Kane is out there calling out Marvel, attacking them because of this. So it may get really ugly for Marvel trying to placate this. And it's amazing because she's talking about things like you mistreat freelancers, you let people dogpile, and so on. This is a class action lawsuit waiting to happen. Things like that. I was like, damn, you know, this is what you get for messing with people like
So
that.
a respected author gets in there, gets kicked out, and she is, yeah, an image problem for them. Yeah.
She was given a shortcut to the front of the line. She was actually allowed to get there without working for it. And of course, when she got there, yeah, so she got there without doing anything, and then had this expectation that it would stay. I wonder after there was no advocate for her in Brian Michael Bendis, and also you know you have the EIC change out. I figure the direction, you know, they talk about directional shift. I figure the directional shift meant you ain't got no friends left. So After that happened, and she found herself, kicked to the curb. Well, can't abide that. Kicked out the wrong people, and of course, like I said, when you let people cut to the head of the line, that's what you get. Marvel, they've pretty much been courting this kind of myth.
There are some people that I see that go, oh, why is this person who has no experience being hired and given a comic a bad thing? It's because they haven't proven themselves yet.
Yeah, but it's exactly.
Prove yourself.
You might
It's
get
like,
lucky,
you have
but
no idea the
otherwise
quality.
you're gonna.
It's probably gonna suck
But
for
you
all
could,
you know.
yeah, you could easily end up with trash. I mean, look at something like the unfortunate case of now Iceman. That
Oh,
I'm
man, that is garbage too. Have you looked at that comic book?
yeah,
My
it's
God.
like 20 pages of him just reminding everybody he's extremely gay. I don't
And
get how he stays so
and
cold while
somebody
being so
unlikes him.
flaming.
It's I don't particularly care for any superhero to remind me of themselves like that. It's so narcissistic. We should have a vehicle. I mean, that's one of the modern age things that we saw with like Riri and on. We see this we see the person reflected through them, and the person there is very ugly, very self-centered person. I think people have missed out on that the reflection you're seeing there, it's actually a true measure of the artist. Older artists, when they were out there, they at least understood what they were trying to connect to. But these artists, all they want to do is, again, connect to a fan club of self and, praise self, showcase self. But again, that's exactly why this person was hired for said job, and why they'll get an award for it. They will lose sales. They will not get any sales, but they will win an award for it, just like they did last time. I bet.
Like an MTV reward doesn't mean
Glad gave them an award.
About some
because
characters they're just using as self inserts to feel special.
Well,
Yeah, Iceman is so bad. Just buy a gun and shoot yourself. It will save you lots of money on therapy. After having to read those comics.
Jesus, getting vicious.
Disavow. Don't
Yes,
shoot
yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
Disavow.
the hot dog classic. Disavow, don't kill
Yeah,
yourself.
you can just skip all that and go buy yourself something better. I mean, that's an expensive way to torture yourself, though. I mean, $4 a pop. I can do it for. Actually, people are really mean. Like, I guess, like some people will say, "Hey, have you seen this awful comic? Here you go. I sent you a copy." And I'm like, "Okay, this is actually a legit copy. Why the hell? Why do you buy this just to see this piece of shit? Why did you do this?" Oh, because
don't send me your garbage. Even yeah. Why are you paying?
But
It's like no one really
garbage
wants
away.
things
because
so
they
you
know
might as
that.
well do like Yellow
I'll
Flash.
talk about it.
I don't know, Tug. You haven't been as happy since you stopped reading the Wilds.
Actually, the infidel.
Yeah, and they
missed
took Infidel from you. What are you gonna do now?
Dodgeball.
I mean, I guess
Dodgeball's
you got
over
Border
too
City.
for Yellow Flash.
Infidel was amazingly bad. I mean, I think it was
Dodge
crazy.
City was
Then you got
a masterpiece.
10. Man, somebody's teasing you, man. They keep going back 9 to 10 watchers. Come
It'll
on,
pop
we need to get that number up.
It'll pop
Share
around.
this freaking thing right here.
You gotta
Yeah,
pump up
maybe-
those
maybe
numbers,
it-
rookie.
Well, 2 a.m. is probably not good time.
Yeah.
I'm worried they didn't hear me say disavow and they might have killed themselves.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, is that what it is? Yeah, but see, if they did that while they're on the stream, they would still count.
Yeah, I would have a forever watcher. I could just leave it on.
Yeah, exactly. What's up?
Hey,
At
Tuck,
least for this stream.
I have an author I want you to tell me yes or no. John Jackson Miller. Know anything
I've
about
not.
him?
I've not done like anytime somebody comes up that I've not done research on. I've not researched Protocol. So
Well, I don't expect you if you don't have. Yeah.
I mean, I'm
knowledge.
just anybody.
I'm checking the guy out because the last comic I added was Battlestar Galactica comic by Dynamite, and he seems to be the writer. So
Well, you just go and I mean, if you want to do like precursory work, you just find him on
I should
Twitter.
have
which
done that
would be-
before I ordered it, right? But
He's
yeah.
at Jim Far Away, and then you can just do some precursory like looks into him, like do some advanced
There you
word
go.
searches and see what kind of garbage comes back up or doesn't come back up.
Miller.
I almost expect it to come back up badly. Let's see. I'm looking right now. I don't know. I'm fascinated with this culture that is popped up. You know, a lot of people like, oh, it's it's depressing and that. I don't know. I just find it to be like from like a sociological lens. It's amazing to see that this is that hobby. This is what
Yeah,
it becomes.
it's kind of interesting to see how they think sometimes, and just trying to figure out like a broad spectrum of what they do all day and what they think about life.
Oh,
When you
it's
see how
John
they
Jackson Miller. Sorry.
yeah when you see how they handle
Yeah.
even the simplest of things. Like if you can't take someone saying I wasn't fond of this story, and that this has you collapse, or that chick who was told she was pretty by Elvar and just
Yeah.
pretty much
Going
slowly
nuts.
mentally decayed, well, quickly mentally decayed. Like, how do they operate as humans? Like, what do they do all day?
That is actually mental illness personified because
Yep.
mental illness is you not being able to, societally function. So I mean that is the prerequisite for mental illness, and they definitely they exemplify. They most definitely do. I feel like the
And did
company itself, like what happens when a company gets to that point, though? When a company personifies that because they can't work in their own circles. I guess that's what bankruptcy is called, actually.
someone was commenting that they don't leave the house anyway, right? That they're stuck in there all day ordering sandwiches from the internet with their sandwich monies and
Yeah, I mean
coffees.
that's
And
actually
Who was
that's
that that
true
had
about a lot.
that was begging for sandwich money again?
I love
Oh,
that so much.
Kieran
yeah. Oh,
Shulak.
Suresh or whatever. Yeah, I just call him Sandwich Boy. KS King Impulse. Like it's a Curie whatever. I've got a video ready to go because I've been looking at the quality or caliber of opposition. If you want to take the measure of a person, if you want to take the measure of a message, then sometimes you measure it by the caliber of opposition. And yeah, some of the opposition out there, wow. This guy's a Kickstarter fraud. He not only didn't deliver his packages to people or his incentives and stuff, but he also didn't pay the artist. So he just pocketed the money, walked off on his merry way, and yeah, somehow he's still a spokesman out there for comic books that are, this stuff is being brought up.
What at,
So far, so good with this guy.
I wonder how much the
follow.
total money after the whole Captain Cummings confrontation that B Claymore is given back.
$2.
Yeah,
was-
probably
it was-
$1.99.
It was probably just the one that he gave
About
in.
350.
No, I wonder how much money some of these comic people make if any of them could actually afford to buy a train in their house.
They can't afford.
They'd
They
wre-
can't
they'd
afford
wreck
Oda's
it.
stuff.
Train wreck it.
They were talking about like how rich some of the manga writers are right now, and like Oda, the guy who writes One Piece, has a small train in his house
Hmm.
because he makes so much money because he likes, I know he's a normal person that likes to make as much money as he can off his product.
Well, comics right now, they can't be, U.S. comics can't go worldwide because they're so niche. They don't even appeal to the people inside the U.S. So they've already shut
Yep.
down their worldwide. But the comic book professional, they don't see how the companies that they work for, how they've pretty much allowed them to screw themselves. And I don't particularly care that. I hope that you have like Ethan Van Sciver built a platform online. He talked directly to fandom. He told them what they wanted to hear. He figured out how to resonate with them, and bam, he made close to 600 grand off of that comic book. So, or I mean, after shipping, I mean, he's still going to make his 500 grand, I'm sure. So,
Yeah, on
I mean,
top of
it's
like T-shirt money and super chats and everything else he's
yeah,
getting
yeah.
because people like him. But
Well,
he's a-
people, there are
Is
people
that a
out there.
sustainable business model, though? That's what they're going to argue.
I mean, as long as he puts out
Yeah.
stuff that his loyal fan base that he has that are constantly be coming around, as long as he keeps them happy, keeps giving them good products, they're gonna stay.
Well, this stuff is still, it will. Yeah, I personally think, like, unlike say, a lot of people like to draw comparisons to other social movements like Gamergate. Now, I don't personally think it's really the same in a lot of ways because you can actually create a product and you can have a turnaround that's fast. Like with a video game, it takes years to put something together. And, even if you had high level professionals that were wanting to come out and try to deal with people, they couldn't create a new market within that. It's very difficult. Here, it doesn't take a lot to create a new market. You can actually just sit down and deal with your you can deal with your fandom, and you can make something. And I think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see it, and we're going to see it I think, quickly and sustainably. If as long as, again, this stuff doesn't devolve in a certain way, and it doesn't matter if it devolves in a way like minor players out there devolve, as long as the industry is not going to change. It may shut up, but it's going to continue either bad practice, or if it wises up, there will still be a place. Like, I will never stop reminding people what the industry did. I hate to say, but they have they've made they've kind of made an enemy out of a lot of people. I don't have my pastime went from looking at comic books to commenting on the professionals that create comic books. So they made me a new pastime. I'm not going to give it up. I like it.
Yeah,
It's
and
fun.
it's not only that. When your want is good fun stories, and that's really what we're getting into. Comic people are willing to
Yeah, to
take
be
way
fair,
extra
comics are
time to
usually
to
a
read a
decent level
yeah
story.
to read a story that's probably gonna be oddly complicated that you have to follow with some weird ass plot that wouldn't fly too well in a mainstream movie. Why would they? Why are they gonna put up also with all these other people when they're already spending extra money? They're putting all this time into it. They're anything with Marvel and DC, it's gonna have to, spend so much more tying in all these other stories when you could just play a video game or read a manga and get a volume for like $8 that's specifically of one story that you like
It's
and branch out into other
15
stuff.
bucks for a trade, man.
For a comic,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
they're
Inbox
more
trade,
they're way more
good place
expensive
for that.
too. And you
Isn't that why Spider Side is mostly manga? Because they're cheaper?
yeah, they
'Cause
cost way less money.
and it's harder for him to get the comics he likes, out there. I've had people in Europe ask me for some American comics before because they can't get them.
Well, luckily, when they talk about like how the characters are doing now, it is true that I guess in the long run of all these million takes and all these characters, you're always gonna have, I mean, I guess not always, but you have such a large array of. I don't like these garbage current versions. I'll just go read all the old ones, and that I don't. I think all these are all set in stone. I don't have to deal with any of this current trash. I could just read like I don't have to read fucking
Yeah, like
stupid Tom King's
Chris
comic. I could
Claremont,
read Batman
X-Men.
Hush that I picked up that thanks to Spider
There you
Side and
go.
Tug. I'm almost finished with it. I gotta finish it. I forgot today. I did pick that up after
That's
you
where the
recommended it.
suit started changing big time from the way it was,
Batman?
if I remember right.
For who?
Batman.
Batman Hush is
From the
pretty good. I like
from
it
the
a lot.
gray Detective Comics of the '80s to yeah.
It's pretty
I
good.
don't
I
know.
like it a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been reading older, like, X-Men and whatnot. I've been going back. Because I've been obsessed. I always loved Age of Apocalypse anyhow, but I decided after a while I would go back and not only go back through it, but read all of the secondary material. So it reminds me of how good comic books have been in the past and how bad they are now.
I'll read
You
that
must
eventually.
Oh man, yeah, like Age of Apocalypse is a solid story. The art is very dated, but the storyline is very engaging. I mean, you have this awful movie too. My God, I hate that movie. I mean, imagine. Okay, so you have an event that kicks off, and this is before a lot of huge tie-in events like the way that we've seen them now. This pretty much helped design the way that we see the modern event. So you start out with Bishop, in North America, climbing just this mountain of bodies because you have Apocalypse. He's taken over. He's basically taken his prelates. They're going through survival of the fittest. They've turned North America into a culling field. They're killing all humans and anyone else that falls there. So be it. You have an Atlantic wall. Well, he has his his seawall rather that has been built up, to keep the other side out. And humans, they're basically clinging on within Europe. And the way they've been doing that is by building Sentinel. And you're picking up 20 years after the fact. So it's amazing because it's it does not end well. Let's just say there are comics in there where you basically have the reboot of a, like, instead of having one, you might have Gambit in the externals, and in one comic book there, almost the entire team dies, and they die horrifically. Like, it's kind of a sad comic when you go through. And I remember reading that the first time and thinking, holy shit, they just killed that whole team, and it was like a what if that was done right. And I mean, what do they have that compare that? Mustard and bigotry?
Yeah, it was Mustard and Bigotry 616. Maybe they'll just
I
call
actually,
the era something else. I don't
Apparently,
know.
they think the hot dog is a bigot.
I told you I had my theory. What they could do to fix everything is Galactus has just been eating all the masculinity in the Marvel universe, and then once they defeat Galactus, everyone becomes cool again. And then you just
Is that
have,
what's going to happen?
yeah, they fix it. They just have something like that. It was getting fucked up though, because he was slowly being fought by some big people, and the leaking masculinity that he didn't get to eat was being absorbed by women, and so that's why all their dudes are so
Okay.
manly. And who would
That's
we just gotta
funny.
we just gotta figure out
You can make a good comic out of that. Actually,
yeah,
you can make you a good you can make a good spoof out of that kind of stuff.
it'll have to become canon so Marvel can be fixed. They'll have to pay me for the movie rights. I would just ask for a character. Who would I want to own? Who would be the ultimate? Actually, I just asked him to
I
put
want
Black.
to do
I would just ask
something
him to put
weird,
Black Bolt in there.
like Glob, not
I like
Blob, but Glob.
I like Black Bolt.
The
I
guy
wanted
that's
him to
like the
be in the
transparent
movie.
glob with the eyeballs. I think that's an odd character.
Is he in there? Is that an actual character? I don't know a whole lot about. I don't know a whole lot about the X-Men.
Glob is associated with the X-Men.
I don't know. I have no fucking idea. There's so many that
Glob
I've
Herman.
never heard of. What was the
Is it
event where they had that
Monster?
X-Men member who just kind of spit up a piece of the cosmic cube and then just like, all right, we're
Oh,
done.
God, that was
Glob was
secret.
created by
That was
Grant Morrison
that
and
was
Ethan
Boss
Van
Man.
Sciver.
What?
Glob was created by Grant
Not
Morrison
that.
and
We're
Ethan.
talking about
that was
the
Secret
event.
Empire. Like you're talking about
Wait,
Secret
that's
Empire,
how
right?
it.
The last
Oh
one.
yeah, that's how it ended.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, and not just that though. You have some of these people that are in charge of that. I mean, when you look at the professionals that were on the stage then, and you look into their history, it's very telling, like who these people were in the past. Even I would encourage people to do research on, and to really like just look into who is making value judgments. I was looking at that Jason Youngblood. He's always out there on the stage. He's always talking about how terrible that all of us are. We're all monsters. We're all wrong thinkers. EVS too. He's a Nazi, or he loves Nazi affiliation. I looked this guy's web comic up, and his web comic, the first one I see is a bunch of people sitting around a table. They're talking, telling stories. They get to a little girl who's going to tell a story. She says, "Oh, the punchline is my dad's molesting me." That's the punchline to
Jesus.
that's the punchline to every comic. But so this guy is saying that drawing that sketchbook means that you're either a Nazi or you're Nazi affiliated. So if we take that same thought process and we carry it to its conclusion, what does his comic say about him?
Exactly. And
That's
you just want to know how. Some of these guys have just. I'm curious of what they plan for after this. Are they gonna just move on to something else? Or are they gonna just try and figure out to make it work for them when they have
it's
down
the
to the
face of the industry.
Yeah,
Man.
probably
yeah
move on to something else.
when they're gonna have about the 30 people that actually buy the garbage they do. And it's unfortunate because even like the one of the guys at my LCS, he actually likes a lot of the SJW Marvel stuff, but he knows like it's bad and he sees like the effects of it and he just hates it too. Because at the same time, he's like, it's fucking over my job. I feel
Yeah,
bad
that's
for
a
him.
well. I mean, LCSs are dying. They're you know how do you market a product that is unmarketable? How do you continue to tell people, hey, I know Marvel's gotten bad over, well, I know they've been bad now for 4 years, but just around the corner, they're going to get better.
I'm done with the pity purchases for that fact.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. The only thing I've been remotely interested in, even knowing if it would be good or not, was Punisher. I wanted to check out and see because I've always,
I have all the Rosenberg ones if you ever want them. Let me finish them first.
yeah, I'm not checked out. I mean, are they any? Are there any that are any good?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, luckily I'm
I like War Machine, so maybe that's a little bit more contributing to it. But
well, luckily we're
I
getting
don't know.
old.
The mashup stuff seemed like, well, it's not the '90s because I know all the '90s stuff, but I missed 2000, through 2015 basically,
Mm.
and so I don't know what happened in that period. So
Well,
it's a new way
luckily,
to look at it, for me.
well, luckily,
But
Mike,
You can
we're.
always. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, luckily for Mike, we're getting him over to the manga game, so he doesn't have to deal with all that stuff. He's already
Well, I've
ordered
been
a few
reading.
volumes of Berserk.
I read some manga here and
you're
there. I
never
mean,
gonna get me away from Star Trek or Star Wars.
Oh, you luckily have Rose will keep
Actually,
you
the Star Wars
occupied.
manga.
yeah,
Rose
yeah.
and
Star
Holdo.
Wars manga.
What's her name? Holdo? Is that the purple-haired chick? They'll keep you occupied. They got big fan bases already. What are you reading right now, Tug, for manga?
The main
I
story.
picked
Oh,
up. I'm going back and I'm going through all that Ito stuff. I'm getting ready for his Frankenstein. It's being released English language finally. I mean, I could go and find the scantilations online, but I actually want to buy English editions. I mean, I wish they would release the other stuff too, like Hellstar, Ramina, and all of that. But I'm going back through like
That's actually one of
Uzumaki.
the things I really like about mangas. You can find a lot of it online, read it on a lot of these websites, and then just buy the ones you like. So then you don't waste your money on stuff that you just don't really feel the urge to actually continue, and you don't just have issue
I
one or
was reading,
two of a bunch of random
I
stuff.
was reading I Am a Hero, and that story went from like odd horror to what the hell did I just read?
I've heard about that. I haven't picked it up. Would you recommend it, or
Yeah.
is it really weird?
Uh, I mean, for a little while, it's interesting enough. I don't know if I would give it maybe a curiosity read. Maybe you could check
Is
it
it
out
is
online and
it
see if it's
Gantz
something
level of
for you.
weird? Have you read Gantz?
No, no. Well, the end, yeah, okay. It's not that weird. Like you're starting out. I mean, it's just like a regular horror thing. No, it's not. I did like Gantz. I liked it quite a bit.
It's one of the things I'm
I
recommending
wish
to
they could.
Mike.
I wish they could get that on like cartoon or something, and just make it
Of
that
of
level,
Gantz.
not to. Yeah, yeah, man. It would be so
Jesus.
freaking bizarre to see them carry that over.
How do you how do you
They
like
tried, but
how do you try and put that on a scene of a dude like raping a giant alien amalgam of other aliens? It's
uh, I think it would be interesting to see them try to put it all together.
Did you read
That was a
his
crazy ass
did you read his
twist.
sequel series?
I don't
He
don't
has
know
a
if I
he has a
did.
series there's an old guy who gets like merged with alien tech and becomes like a living super weapon. And one of the
What's
characters
it called?
it's like I have to look it
I
up, but it's like Inushiki or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually got the reason I read that I used to belong to well, I get products sometimes sent for free, and I got offered the first book of that for a product test. So yeah, yeah, I read the first book of that, and it
It's
got me
pretty
interested.
funny.
I probably wouldn't have otherwise.
One of the characters is a huge fan of Gantz.
Mm.
He's like a huge Gantz fanboy.
I thought that was written pretty well. Actually, I thought that was shored up, pretty well, especially like in the first, when you're getting into it. I thought
Hey,
it was
Gantz is
done pretty
fun.
good.
It just
I
does a
would,
lot of weird shit.
yeah.
Like it and all that weird shit ended up tying together, which I thought was fantastic.
Mhm.
Just like, we're gonna fight a weird blade arm statue alien lemon creature. Fantastic.
I
know.
just read what is it, 20th Century Boys? I think
That's one of my friends has been recommending me that for like 2 years. I'll
I
have to
read
pick
that.
it
It
up at
was
some
actually
point.
pretty good. It was lengthy to read, so it was actually pretty good. I mean, I've read it. It just for I've not gotten into any of the huge like main the ones that are known. I don't want to call them mainstreamed because I mean
Yeah.
U.S. like none of it's mainstreamed here, but I mean the ones that most people know. I haven't gotten into like One Punch or anything like Dragon Ball or anything like that.
Tug on balls will happen one day. One day. Much to Yellow Flash's delight.
That's creepy. Saying, man, Yellow Flash wants some tug on balls.
I really wish your stream enthusiasm would fall onto him. He hasn't streamed for shit lately.
I
He
know, man.
keeps,
I try to get him to like. I'm like, come on
Yeah,
over
he's a
here. Well, it's
teaser.
because he got flagged down, is what it was. I mean,
yeah.
he got banned from And if you're de-incentivized totally, like you can't have super chat or anything else, it becomes a.
Well, he go,
I don't mind doing a show. I do want like YouTube or something to compensate me at least a little bit to make it work.
well, we keep
It
telling him
doesn't
to
it doesn't recoup my time.
we keep trying to tell him
Do
to go through Streamlabs because then he gets all the money.
Yeah, but you have to say, well, I've got to like look at how to set that up. I just haven't spent the time to look at it.
It don't.
Really well.
I did that recently. It only takes a few minutes. It's pretty quick.
Really.
We had a stream about that.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh yeah, I
that's-
remember that.
Doesn't take very long.
It was hilarious.
And the thing I liked about it much more is when the notification, it'll show up on your screen. You can make it do whatever you want. You could have a little spinning up Umbrella Corp.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. It had me like smack. Hey, well, you should do that with Yellow Flash. You should put like you like beating down Yellow Flash every time someone.
I'm still so excited to play Jump Force to beat him as Yugi and just take it to another level. And then hopefully the fan art.
That. I always loved the Super Cat Wars. That was hilarious. Man.
I have a lot of fun with it. That's why I almost only ever do $2 super chats. It's because then I have a lot more room to spread my fuckery.
Right.
Uh,
Man, I don't know.
I super
like
chatted so much they stopped it, and then I didn't do the paperwork, so I can't.
Really. Eventually.
I don't want to fill out paperwork to waste money.
It
like
sucks
that.
because when you think about it, he doesn't get it back for like another 2 months. It's only been 1 month.
I know, man. That's a long time. And actually, I was looking at like what his channel could possibly. I mean, it's depressing thing. Like he is not monetized because he has a
YouTube
lot
is
of
a
hits under his
biased
belt.
fuck. YouTube sucks. They just don't want to.
Yeah.
Why do they care as long as people are showing up?
Well, you're bringing it. That's the thing. Like it actually shouldn't matter. It should be based on. We're talking about meritocracy, aren't we?
I mean, that's like when you're like, why fucking you have Steven Crowder and he's got, I don't know what, like he'll start with like 50K in one of his streams, but it won't be trending. But you get something like the Young Turks with a few hundred, and they're now trending on YouTube. They're super biased, and it just ends up turning you away from a lot of the stuff, and it ruins a lot of the fun.
Well, it also turns people, inward toward groups. I mean, if you wanna create people that just singularly oppose your platform, yeah, that's the way to do it right there. But it also, it leads people to, just hang out in their own little communities or whatever. That's one thing I have liked about all of this stuff. We have built like a cool little fan community. It's pretty much an interesting engagement. I have a lot of damn fun goofing off online.
I'm a big fan of the really weird events that happen, like the unfortunate hiding of Mark Wade. That was such a beautiful time of him just.
Until he came back, bouncing back like a rabbit.
Did anybody keep up with like the Mr. Medicare Sargon crap? I think that.
Oh my god, that was hilarious. He was in the stream. Fucking Sargon was watching the whole time.
Yeah, it was magical, man. Well, it's funny that it's like Sargon came out and he was he was going to show his ass, but of course he muted he muted the chat, and like he sat there for like 20 minutes, just like looking like a jackass. Like he really looks pompous
We were talking about him
when you
earlier.
remove the sound.
If he just would take like serious topics and then turn it and kind of how he used to be is just being like a internet shit posting
Yeah, shit
dude,
poster. That's
he
exactly.
would have been
I
fine.
mean,
But I think it went really downhill when he's just like, I'm gonna be a politician. I'm gonna run for office. I think that's where it kind of went bad for him.
Yeah, subverting the expectations of your audience doesn't seem like a good idea.
Oh, and there's
Ryan
no
Johnson.
there's no way he's ever gonna make office with some of the shit
That'd be
he
like
said
if
online.
Umbrella Guy's like, now Marvel, I was all wrong. They're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Everybody'd run. You know, that ain't gonna happen. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm so
it's,
tired.
Being
I need to
confident
go to
in his
bed.
game.
Bet is for the
you
weak.
get to
Just stay
sleep
up.
if you're tired,
Yeah,
man. Sleep
don't
or
do
don't
it.
sleep. You just get to that point where
Well, I
you
slept
just
all day, so I could stay up.
Luckily I have tomorrow off, so I'm just gonna stay up.
Yeah,
I've
that's
got a
what I'm
bunch of
doing.
I got a bunch of free days freaking lined up. I'm gonna use soon. I've been
I
scamming
just think it's funny. Like
my plan now.
YouTube should incentivize it. Like I think that's a really crazy idea,
It's
but they
like
don't.
you, yeah, you'd think that somebody would at YouTube would be like, oh, this is an easy way to pull in all these extra things, because even though they probably don't like Mr. Medicare, like he still brings them so much money. Why don't
Yeah.
they honestly should be pushing that. And then you had, I don't know if anybody else saw this, but on 9/11 YouTube, instead of anything, they're advertising women need to be more in STEM. These are the faces of women in STEM research. And it was just, I it was such a soft cringe that I just couldn't take it. They would rather they'd rather continue pushing that whole women in STEM research and medical
Of course they
fields
would, though.
instead
Of
of
course they would.
instead of
And
here's one of the
YouTube
most
Red.
tragic events in American history in the last, you know, I don't know what, since the wars. It's ridiculous. They're slowly just killing off everything. And now with Article 11 and 13, I'm worried of
Oh,
what's
that
next.
pisses me off. If they
Yeah.
can get away with it somewhere, they'll try it other places. I don't want to be like Europe. This is America.
I mean, there's a reason we're the winners. We don't need to emulate the losing countries. I can hear that ferocious
Too much
typing.
IFC.
Yeah, that's me. Like freaking, I'm trolling. I'm going to the Yellowstone Soundmine real quick. She's gonna be muted, so she never responds to me anymore. She owes me $1 though. That pisses me off. I want my $1. She better pay out.
I like it when there's like a sup a gar combo. How's it going, man? I like it when there's just like some like Comics Gates villain of the month, and they just kind of show up and they disappear and cycle in somebody. Like right now, it's
It's gonna be
Renfamous.
Scott Schneider for a little while. It's all this circle jerk. It's all together, and it's really Joe Quesada that has really gotten all of this, rolling in my mind right now. I mean, we had Jeff Lemire, and then we have Tom Taylor and Tom King coming out. Tom Taylor, hard pressed. Tom King soft pressed it, and you have all of these other big pros that are coming out. Man, I'm telling you, when you get out there and you have guys that are ripping main titles, and your companies are allowing you to do this, knowing they're going to cost you, it's going to cost you money. Yeah, good job there. Good job.
I mean, I'm super curious of what the people way high up, like, their thoughts on these things. Like, why are they
It's
okay
an
with this?
inconvenience for them.
Because like, how much money are they losing? Why are they okay with this? From the people who aren't touchy feely like position people, the guys who are just like business by numbers. Like, why aren't they like, we need to stop this? And it just makes me think of either they're broken along with this, or maybe people aren't telling the truth in some areas, or what.
Well, they
Well, that's
definitely they're just telling you that they think that IP at the end of the day, that all of this stuff there's comics are a lost cause, man. I mean, when you look at this, so the way that you're going, without the intellectual property added to it, you are IDW, and IDW is leading to the tune, to the tune of $1 million a quarter if they're doing a good job. I mean, this last quarter we don't have the numbers on yet, but they must have been even worse. I can't even wait to put my hands on it. I mean, I'm like, I never thought I'd be excited about stock reports. I'm like, ooh, I
If
need those stock reports.
yeah, if DC gets even gets deeper into this, I'm just gonna be like you and go for trades and just continue buying my manga because I don't have to. I'll save a lot of money, and it'll just be me not willing to take as many risks of what I'm reading, and just further go into only what I like.
I was dropping like my baseline was 250 a week. That's my baseline. So you know, when I look at that, I think and that's of course with trades and stuff too. I always had I always either would even it out with trades or whatnot. But it would be about 1 to 150, one way, and it may be higher. That was again a baseline. So singles now, I'm lucky to spend $10 a week, because I just don't care anymore about it. Because why should I? I mean, I can support a few Indiegogos here and there, and I can also go out talk about stuff. And I think there's a lot of people. A lot of people should be, I guess happy once you broke that bond to it, because what was if it was shitty writing and it wasn't that great anyhow, what exactly were you gaining from spending all that money? I mean, it's habitual, it is like you're a
feeding
freaking
the
addict.
machine that's not doing you any favors when you could
Yeah, it's
put
just
it
insult.
into
Yeah.
Indiegogos. I'm thinking about like less than 20 a year would be perfect for me, reading wise.
I'm running out of trade paperbacks that I want to buy. I mean, I'm picking up all of the 100 bullets again. I actually, I forgot how
Johnny
good
the Homicidal Maniac.
Johnny Homicide. I mean, I read that. I mean, I haven't read, all that Vasquez and Roman Durst and all that stuff. The kind of stuff was kind of funny way back when. I just haven't read it in a long time.
I was in high school then.
Yeah.
Such age, impressive.
I think it's hilarious. Like though, Patton Oswalt, he was going out and trying to attack Comics Gate. And it looks like it's probably because he was trying to gain money for the Kickstarter he has out there. He has a Kickstarter that
Hey, by the
he
way,
had.
fuck
I
these
mean,
guys and buy my stuff. Yeah.
It
3 days.
probably
He's got 3 days to earn. So he's made $20,000 with a platform of 4.4 million followers on Twitter. He's managed $20,000,
that
and
just means
he's still down by 16,000.
that just means he doesn't
3 days.
know anything about what's actually going on because he could have gotten that if he just made friends with Ethan.
Yeah, but of course, the people that he had working on his platform, they're some of the same people out there that are pretty much garbage there. Batman or Superman? I personally am a Batman. You had somebody ask
Yeah, I
that,
like
and,
Batman. That's what I told him. Batman.
Batman. I mean,
Superman.
really?
All the way.
Ooh, someone
I
decided that you're back.
I like the
Max.
darkness.
That's old
I think
sketch.
Batman is broken to a point. I like the fact that really you're talking about a
It's
maniac.
always
I mean,
space
when you
for
get down.
me. Superman deals with space. Other
I like the
planets.
fact that you got a guy that's going around, and he does pal up with superpowered individuals, but it's just
A lot
some
of
dude
people.
using his mind, and he's breaking his body, and he's got his own rules. I hate the
And his
fact that
wallet.
his endless wallet pretty much. But I mean, he has some of the coolest gimmicks. I like it when they focus on the detective work. I actually like.
Yeah, I've actually I am gonna get the black label Batman this week. I was talking to Spider Side about. He's teaming up with John Constantine.
Mhm.
I love John Constantine, so that'll be pretty
Yeah,
cool. I'm
basically
hoping
you're
that doesn't
buying
end up as shit.
Boogeyman.
Yeah,
I'm at
$5 rebirth trades. That's what I want to go for to fill the gaps. I got most of rebirth before I stopped, so.
oh shit. I got a battering out of here. They should make a good
Sketch. What's
Superman
up, man?
game.
I saw Sketch Therapy pop up in the chat. What's up, man? You know, I saw
Get
Patton
him in here.
Oswalt on Avengers, Agents
to
of
say.
Shield. Or rather, I saw Patton Oswalt on Agents of Shield. He is triplets in the role of an agent. It's, conflict of interest. His latest work. Any relevance is that?
Is he
It's
really?
lovely there.
You
Yeah, so
Halloween's coming. Cool.
well, he's been in, odds and ends. Like I remember him back when he talked about like when he talked about like the prequels. He would say that the way to fix the prequels is to put George Lucas's head on a pike. And that was okay. But now, man, you say, hey, these people are throwing agenda into this movie. They need to stop. Oh no, that's sexist and phobic. You guys are monsters. You're violent.
Too many people lack a sense of humor, and they take everything too seriously. It just makes it so boring. Some of the edgy jokes, and you could be funny, but now you sneeze in someone's general direction, and they'll somehow associate that with being molested. I can't take it some of the time. They want to suck the fun out of everything, and then what's going to be left?
Yeah, basically we would have to call 911 for everything Lex does.
That's probably true.
911, do you need my assistance?
911, what's your emergency? This guy keeps recommending me like lots of lewd,
I can't get
like
my.
etchy manga. I don't get it. This guy showed me this manga where this guy gets beaten up, and I can't take it. It's too scary.
Be an anime meme.
I need to
Yeah.
go to the sleepy room, guys. I'm done.
Wait for them.
Okay, Pinball Man.
We need to change that. It needs to be the sleepy box.
I won't snore on
Just
live
wait.
stream.
Just wait. Chew until they say that JoJo is toxic masculinity.
You can snore as much as you want, buddy. Okay.
I think they might have already did that. Something popular or well known enough for them to talk
No,
about.
it's because they don't attack the Japanese. Could you imagine with all the stuff they harass, like toxic masculinity, oppressing women, and they tried to go over there? Like, it would be a gold mine for the way that like the Japanese do their stuff, but they're not going to do it because then they're harassing a minority. And
Have targeted
they only
they
have a they only have a problem if they only have the problem if the people that are doing it are white and men. And it's disgusting. I hate it so much.
During Logon one I seen a while ago, they specifically focus on Yoko, but they leave out certain scenes for male characters where they walk around basically half nude.
Well, that's what I say. I complain all the time. So one of the I deal a lot with annoying fandoms. It's really bad in manga a lot of the time, and you'll you'll run into something like people will complain about female characters in Fairy Tail getting looted, but then like one of the dudes, the primary focus of what he does and why the author made him is fan service for the chicks because he regularly takes off his shirt, but nobody mentions it. And they'll be like, well, he's got a reason for it, so it's fine. The damage control.
Service at all.
The damage control sometimes is ridiculous.
Wait, what is this guy's reasons for taking off his shirt all the time?
He when he trained to use his ice magic, he had to get used to the cold, so his teacher made him take his they would pretty much get in their underwear and get used to like
So his
the
teacher was
Arctic.
like no sweaters, dude.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fairy Tail, but I've never read anything.
The manga is much better than the anime by a lot.
I mean, I thought some Fairy Tail
I mean,
was actually funny to watch at the beginning, so I'd wondered how it was to read.
Especially the anime tries to extend a lot of the filler in silly ways, but the art style is ridiculously different. Like, let me just look at something. There's one scene I always use that is a really good example of the efforts put into, because large manga, like large weekly manga, turned into anime a lot of the time as a such a inferior budget to to like their counterparts to something like a seasonal. When you have something that will they'll just all right, we got 10 episodes, throw it together, and then it's like some of these ones where it's like, well, all right, year round, let's figure out how we're gonna spend this on like 50 episodes instead of 10, and then
So we don't need to, use crayons to draw in the
you'll have like
colors.
you'll have like stop motions all the time. Like this is one of my favorite examples of like the effort gap between like a scene in the anime and a scene in the manga. I put it in the voice context chat. You can tell like one of them they spent probably 15 minutes, and the other one's like you can tell like all the shading and the nice artwork. It's ridiculous. And that's the really like the biggest problems you get like in the anime and manga community. It's like, God damn it, they didn't make the scene in that anime adaptation as good as I wanted to. This has been a tragedy. And then like the comics guys are over here and like I'm getting called a Nazi for siding with Ethan Van Sciver. You guys have nothing to complain about,
KVR is touching you again, Rex.
huh? What did you say?
KVR, he's touching.
He's a master toucher, yeah. Yeah, some of the Fairy Tail's good. It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's
Hey
it's
guys, I gotta bounce.
all
I
right.
gotta
Yeah.
bounce. I gotta do
See
something.
him.
So hey, it was fun hanging out. We need to do another
All
stream,
right.
or,
That
you
anytime.
come over to my channel. You know,
The Tugger knots are always
promote your
available.
platform one day. Let's go over there one day and let's just I don't know.
All right.
do
I'm
a
game.
brief session.
I got.
All right, man.
I'm
All right,
all
out
off
here, guys.
tomorrow
It was
if you
good
ever.
hangs.
Yeah. See ya.
Doug. Bye, folks.
See you later. All right. I'm gonna end my stream in a minute, and then we could talk about bad stuff. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Right.
Rex.
Bad stuff.
Spicy.
Ooh.
All right. Yeah. See ya.
Giving me the vapors.
All right. I'm gonna end the stream mainly because there's currently now going like an hour and a half of footage on my channel of me being really bad at Batman. So
Yeah.
yeah, see you later, Sketch. See you later, Agar. That new guy? What's that new guy's name? I don't want to forget. Great Loner. See you, Mangs. See you, Mangoes. Ha 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 ha. Yeah.